Welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing a crank swap on the Vitas with the XT cranks here. We're going to be replacing the Deores that came with it, the m5100s, with these Deore 8100s. And the only reason I went with these crank sets was because they are direct mount, and I was having kind of a hard time finding a chain ring for the Deore set here. Because of the bolt pattern, I don't have very many options, and I kind of wanted to go with the absolute black oval. And I could technically fit one on, but it just doesn't look as clean. Alright, so we're going to get started with the disassembly here. So we have to take our pedals off, and we're going to remove this chain. I'm not going to take the chain off completely. I don't really feel like messing with a quick link. So we're going to go ahead and turn our clutch off. On the Shimano Deore, we do have a clutch here. We're going to go ahead and move that derailleur out of the way and drop this chain. And we're going to take our 15mm wrench. This is a little bit thinner than what a regular wrench looks like. I don't know if you can see that there. It fits really nice right here where this pedal goes. And we're going to go ahead and take this off here. And I've already loosened these up just to make the video a little bit easier. I don't want to be fighting on video with a part. So we'll go ahead and take that off there. And we'll go ahead and take the other one off as well. I hope the camera angle's okay for you guys. I'm trying a chassis mount today. Pedals off. So we'll go ahead and put these pedals somewhere safe. And it's really important to keep your work area clean. Typically what I would do is wash the bike and make sure everything is spotless, but kind of wanted to go on a ride today and try these cranks, and I didn't want to dirty up the bike. We have had a lot of rain the past couple of days, so it makes no sense to wash it to go ahead and get it dirty again. Alright, now for the bolt here for Shimano, you need a special tool to get this off, or you just go ahead and fabricate your own. I welded this nut together with other random metal pieces to just kind of come up with my own tool. It was late night and I was kind of in a pinch, so we'll take our 15mm wrench. We'll turn this. Get that off of there. The only thing I don't like about Shimano cranks, at least the Deore, the SLX, and the XT, they all have this plastic little, I guess bolt you would call it, to pinch everything together. Put that over here, set this aside. Won't be needing that. Now you're going to take a size 5 Allen key here, and we'll go ahead and get these cranks off. This bolt out, I thought you didn't have to, but we're going to go ahead and pull that out. And we're going to take a little pick here. And we're going to move this out of the way. But you can see that little piece right there, and I'll take that out. And it's got a little tiny pin right at the bottom right there. Pull this crank off, and you can see where that pin lines up. Right there. And again, I think it's just for a safety measure in case your cranks come loose, they don't come flying off. Alright, over on the drive side, all you're going to have to do is just pull this guy out. Just slide it on out of there. Dirty. Looks like I got some water in there at some point. I just took these off and greased them about a month ago too. It just goes to show when you go riding in the rain and these wet conditions, I mean, it pays to really go ahead and take all this stuff apart, re-grease it, clean it up nicely, and put it back together. Water can do a lot of damage in here, and the grease is not really for lubrication in most cases, it's just to protect against corrosion. So next we're going to go ahead and pull out that bottom bracket. I did order this tool from Amazon from this company called Bike Hand, and it's got a couple nice features to it. It's got the Shimano spline side to remove these cups, and also has this in here to remove that lock ring in here as well. I mean, it fits pretty nice, it's not terrible. It's a little loose, but I mean, you can't complain for something off of Amazon. No, that's not that pricey like a park tool. It'll do the job. But let's go ahead and get these cups off. Alright, so these cups will have a couple of things written on them. Right there it'll say tighten to the left, and it'll be for the right side with an R. The left side will have an L, and it'll say the same thing, which way to tighten and loosen, because I think some of these are reversed that thread. So we're going to go ahead and remove these guys here. You kind of got to be careful with these tools and make sure they're seated properly before you start turning. You can really gouge things up and mess it up. Now, I don't really need to replace this bottom bracket, it's still in good condition, but I did get that one. Another one with the cranks that I bought off of a user on Facebook, and the bottom bracket that he sent me is actually still pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and use it, and it's better quality, it's got better bearings in it. And you'll notice in here there is a spacer in here, so we'll want to keep in mind where that goes. Now, I've already pre-measured everything out and did my due diligence to make sure everything's going to fit properly. But look at all that dirt in there from all my riding. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take off the non-drat side. These bike stands make a big difference. This is another cheapo that I bought off Amazon. So far it works pretty good, but does not compare to a Park Tool one. Park Tool ones are so much more rigid and easier to use. This thing feels like it's going to fall apart, this bike stand, half the time. But for the price at the time, it wasn't bad. So we'll go ahead and spin that off. Looks like they put some type of lock thread compound in there. We'll go ahead and put this aside here. I'm just going to take a clean rag here and wipe everything that's in there out. Make sure it's a real clean surface. We're going to go all the way through this process to do this for service or replacement. Might as well take the time to make sure everything is spotless and clean. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and compare these two sets of cranks, the m5100s Deore and the Xt m8100s. I was looking for a change in cranks, not necessarily for weight, but it's a big plus. And the only reason I went through this whole change to begin with was, as I stated before, I wanted to go with a different chain ring, maybe an oval. And I didn't have that many choices with this 96, I think it's BCD it's called, bolt pattern. It's asymmetrical. It's kind of difficult to find this type of chain ring for this Deore set. You can find them, but there aren't that many options. And I figured while I was at it, why not go a little bit lighter. And there's nothing wrong with this Deore set, the 5100. It's a really good, reliable crank set. It's thick. And, I mean, you can see how big this thing is. It's a beefy crank, and it puts up with abuse. I mean, I've started riding with these and I put them through hell in the rock gardens, and they've held up really well. Never come loose, never had an issue with them. So I'm kind of curious to see what the 8100s will do, the XTs. A weight difference, I mean, these things are really light compared to these, and we're gonna check the weight on them here in a second, but you can see the difference. They're hollow technology. They are hollow on the inside, but I think they use forged aluminum, whereas these are potentially cast aluminum. I don't know. I guess I'd have to look that up. Both in the 170mm variant. And the biggest difference here is the direct mount system on the XT versus the Deore. It's just got a chainring. But I feel like the XTs look a lot cleaner, a lot sharper. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and get these guys weighed. We're gonna put on our Deores first. See what these weigh. Drive side, 568. We're gonna go ahead and add our non-drive side. 854. 858. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and add the bottom bracket just to see what it all weighs together. And we're looking at 948 with BB. Alright, let's go ahead and check the XTs and see what they weigh in. For the XTs, we're going to take the drive side, plop it on here. 413. Yeah, that's already significant lighter. We're going to go ahead and drop our non-drive side and our bolt for the pinch. So we're looking at the XT at 640 versus 858. Now we're just going to go ahead and pop that bottom bracket on there too, just to see what kind of a difference we make. So that's 735 with the bottom bracket. Yeah, so what we got here is 948 for the Deores, 735 for the XTs, for a difference of 213 grams, which comes out to about 0.47 pounds. And I mean, that's a significant drop in weight for a crank set, I think. And I would imagine that rotational mass when you're going up hills and other things like that might help out quite a bit, since you're not working as hard to rotate these heavy guys. So we're gonna go ahead and prep the bottom bracket. We're gonna grease it up and we will go ahead and install this crank set. I'm not gonna do much talking throughout the install. I'm just gonna go ahead and install it. If you guys have any questions, just let us know in the comments and we'll go ahead and try to answer your questions the best that we can. But let's go ahead and get started. Alright, I figure I'll pause it for a second, you guys, and go over this. So there is a spacer that goes in here. The one that I took off is a 2mm spacer. This one's like 2.5. I think it should be okay, but I'll go ahead and install it and we'll do some measurements to make sure, confirm that everything looks all good. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and tighten this bolt down here. Just keep in mind that you don't want to tighten this too much because you can damage the bearings and put a lot of load on them. So you just want to have it to where it's snug. And of course, I'm going to take this bike out for a ride after this just to make sure everything is nice and tight. And we'll go ahead and tighten our pinch bolts here. Now you're supposed to tighten these to 12 to 14 newton meters. I don't have my newton meter wrench, so I'm just going to do the old good and tight method, and make sure they're nice, somewhat evenly snugged up. We'll go ahead and pop this chain back on. And let's go ahead and push it through the gears and see what it does. Make sure our drive line is proper. That's it, you guys. It actually turned out pretty nice here, and the driveline looks like everything's in order. But that's the biggest thing you want to check for in these things, is make sure that you set up everything properly so your chain line stays exactly the same or somewhat close to what you had it before. When I did go ahead and put these cups in, I didn't capture it on camera, but I used my old spacer that was on the old Shimano, just because the one that came with this wheels manufacturing one was maybe 0.5 millimeter too thick and was causing the non-drive side, that little lock we talked about in the crank arm here, wouldn't go down. So I had to actually take this cup off and put the other old washer in here just to make it work. But everything looks even and good to go, and we're going to go out and take it for a ride and see how it does. But they look pretty sharp. I like these Deore cranks, and you know, I got lucky finding these things. Couldn't find them anywhere online, and no one had them in a 170. They only had them in a 175. And the biggest issue was, I don't know when these things are going to come back. A lot of things are on back order right now. No one has anything. So the fact that I found these on Facebook used, you know, do your due diligence with these things. Be careful who you buy from on Facebook or OfferUp, because sometimes you might buy things that might not be right, either bent crank arm, bent spindle. But if you're knowledgeable and you know what you're doing, you can get some pretty good deals on there and get some parts that are hard to find right now just to replace what you have, or if you want to upgrade. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully here in the next few weeks I'll have the video, a follow-up video on the Smith mainline and the AGST knee pads that we purchased a while back ago here, just to give you guys a follow-up. I kind of wanted to wait a full year before I did the Smith mainline follow-up, just because I wanted to make sure give some good information on that helmet. And to be honest with you, I still love the helmet, but I'll have that out here in a couple of weeks. If you guys have any comments, concerns, or suggestions, leave them in the comments and I'll try to fit them in. But hope you guys have a great day, and hope you guys get out and ride.